You want like 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and then we questions and stuff along those lines?
Yes, exactly. So we are live already, Jerry.
Okay.
So it's the Titon 24-hour online global conference for educators and education stakeholders. And right here on this keynote, I have Dr. Gerry Hanley. Dr. Gerry Hanley is the executive director of Merlot and Skills Commons, some of the big names when it comes to open education across the world. They're the early starters. And I still remember, Jerry, that I did a project in my program at the Open University UK. I'm doing one program right now on masters on online and distance education. And I also to write an EMA, and as I said, I'm going to write about Merlot. Merlot is the very first one of the earliest open education platforms that we know that started to do things before we even start to know what OER was. So thank you, Gerry, for being on this project. We really appreciate your time, and we hope all our viewers will be able to have a great time listening to what you have to say about open education resources and open education practices. So you're welcome, Gerry.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm going to be bringing your presentation on right now, and you can have the floor.
Okay. Thank you so much, John. And I just want to give a just a really grateful praise and just acknowledgement for John, who's just done an outstanding job reaching out to so many people, and where together we can help address many of these issues that we have in supporting teachers and students around the world. And I'd just like to let you know today, what I'm going to show you today are resources that are here for you for free, no cost, and you have the permission to use them as you wish to help you support moving your teachers and your students online. And as you know, COVID has changed the lives of billions of people around the world. And when we look at all the adjustments that have to be made, all the transitions, all the crises that people are dealing with, that education is still one of the most powerful social and economic change agents that can help us respond to the COVID pandemic. And here, what we're trying to do today is provide you with the tools to enable you to be successful in your delivery of education. And when you look at how do you enable billions of people to become educators and also to be educated, to be learning? And this is going to be an important element when we think about to transform so many people. Everyone has a role to play as an educator and as a learner. And one of the first elements that I'm going to talk about today is when you have reliable internet access, that there are free and open educational resources, OER, open educational resources, that are available. So there are free textbooks, tutorials, presentations, workshops, simulations, all these different type of resources that can be your tools that you can make freely available for your students and for your fellow colleague teachers. So that's the first part, is you need the resources, the content to help the teaching. And then the other element that's really important is, what are the practices on teaching in a free and open way? What's the know-how for teaching in an effective way? How do you deliver the education? How do you assess it? What are the different strategies to create engagement of your students so they can be most effective with the time that you have with them to learn the skills and knowledge that are so important? So what I'm going to highlight today is, how do you get free access to these resources, and also how do you learn about the practices from your colleagues who have captured their strategies for teaching, and those are also freely available on the web. Now, one of the tools that are out there that John had mentioned was Merlot. And this website, www.merlot.org, is free and open for you as teachers, for your students as faculty, for the parents, free, for people working in industry, free. So all these resources are freely available for you. And just to give you an overview, we have over 90,000 materials in the Merlot collection across all different disciplines. And what I'm going to do is I'll kind of show you some examples of how this works. And we also have your ability to connect to over 70 other free and open libraries. So what I'm going to do now is just to give you a little sample of how this works. So we're going to go to the Merlot website. And let's say you're teaching in science, you're teaching biology, and you'd like to talk about DNA. And so where can you find kind of materials to help you teach those, where your students can help visualize these materials that are available? So simply by typing in DNA, just like a Google search. And the thing about Merlot, what you'll find is you'll find educationally related materials that you can then explore for using DNA. And so then I can go to DNA from the beginning. I'm going to just click on this. And now it gives you a description, animated tutorial about DNA, genes, and heredity. You can see on the left-hand side here that these have been peer-reviewed by colleagues in your field. Users have made ratings, so this is out of 5 stars. People say this is good. It's won awards. And the simple thing, you just go click on Go to Material. It lets you know that you're leaving the library, and here you are. Free materials, and there's 75 experiments that you can use online for teaching DNA or teaching genetics. So hopefully you get a little sense about how Merlot works, a simple tool. But what's also important I want to highlight for you here is not only does Merlot have all the collection, but if you look at the top line here, it says other libraries. And so if I click on other libraries, it will provide me a list of over really thousands of materials across 75 different other libraries. And for example, if I'm in K-12, I'm teaching that. For example, the OER Commons is a particularly good collection of free materials. And so I could just click on OER Commons. I don't have to go anywhere else. And now it shows me the 100 materials that OER Commons that has about genetics and DNA. Then lastly, what Merlot also does is it searches the web for educationally related materials about DNA. So with one stop of going to Merlot, not only can you search a curated collection, but you also can search all these other materials to help you find a variety of choices across all different disciplines. So you can train languages. So again, when you're thinking about how do we help out, we can help you find academic materials in Merlot for free that are online that you and your students can go to when you have internet access. Now, many of our disciplines are also in the area of workforce development, that is in manufacturing, in healthcare, in IT, in agriculture, in mining. Well, in that collection, skillscommons.org, think of it like Merlot, it's free and open for you to use. And in here we have over 65,000 resources that are available in lots of different areas. As I mentioned, facilities and business operations, gas and oil operations, construction, healthcare, manufacturing. And all these materials were funded by the US Department of Labor with an investment of $1.9 billion to support people creating open educational resources within the workforce development area. So I'll just give you a brief show about how that works. So I'll go to Skills Commons. So here's the website. You can type in something. Let's say you want to look at nursing materials. I can just click on the search box, and then here shows up 886 materials in which nursing you can find. And if you're looking for a syllabus, or I'm looking for simulations, or how do I find a hybrid or a blended course, I can just click on this link here and it'll filter down to the 70 courses that are in different topics of pediatric nursing, or nursing through the lifespan, or transition to nursing practices. I would click on this, and right here are all the files that you can then download and use for teaching nursing. And this is transitioning from licensed practitioner nurses to becoming an associate registered nurse. So just giving you a sense of Merlot and Skills Commons are two free and open collections that are available for you to use when you're trying to move from face-to-face teaching and hands-on teaching to move to an online environment. Now, one of the things, all this material is very essential. It's required, it's necessary, but it's not all that you need to be successful in teaching and moving into an online or hybrid environment. Like, can you provide me some guidelines about how do I move my teaching online? How do I redesign the courses so my students can be successful? So this is where do you go and get advice to help you learn to move materials online? So Merlot has put together a resource. It's a website, again, free and open for you to use to help you in this transition process. So we have help for how do you help a teacher move online. And then we also have help for students too as well. And this right here are just some screenshots, and I can show it to you live as well, of where can I get those materials, because it could be overwhelming. So let me just, again, step out and go to this website. So here we are. I'll just start off. Here is the teaching and learning online. And so if you're looking for what are some strategies for me to, how do I have to rethink the way I teach to teach online? We've organized some simple resources from the Online Learning Consortium's playbook for teaching online, or simple one-pagers about what you should think about when you're teaching online. If you'd like, there's a little mini course that you can take for free about how do I have to think about teaching online? How do I dress my students, setting expectations in online courses, creating assessments, communicating and building an online community. These are all simple little courses where if you click on Preview Online Module, here's a little lesson that you can just walk through and help you learn what those skills are to help you be successful in teaching online. Again, all these are free and open for you to use. Now, the other element of this, I'm just going to back up, is how do you help your students in their learning online? What are tools that are available? And I'll just show you one, for example. This is where the California Community College produced a free open educational resource to help students learn how to learn online. And so if you just click on how do I organize myself to be successful online, and you can say here is just a little tutorial that students have for free to help them be successful learners online. Okay, so these are just samples. So the next thing we're going to go to is we also have faculty who've told their story about how they've changed the way they teach. So this is looking at open educational practices. And this example that we just have some screenshots here is we have Jisun, who is a faculty member at one of the Cal State University campuses. And they said, well, how do I change by teaching a completely face-to-face class to now I have my students doing learning online. They listen to videos, they do some activities, and then when they come to class, when I work with them, that's when they do more hands-on experience. That's flipping the instruction. So instead of lecturing in class, really the lecturing is spent online, and then they do the hands-on homework assignments in groups, right? So here's this is just what I'm going to show you here, just some examples of faculty telling their stories that you can read because it's open educational practices about how do you do that. And here's the example of how do you help students learn online. I mentioned this already. And we also have materials about moving online with workforce development materials. So if you wanted to teach plumbing or welding or machining or automotive, that original website of Moving Online has all those resources as well to help you with the free materials and also some of the guidelines on how you can be successful. We also have in Merlot, in the Skills Commons, ways for you to support a online or hybrid apprenticeship programs. So how do you help your students learn materials online before they have to go on to a hands-on experience? So we have lots of different, particularly in career and technical education, free materials that can help you help your students be successful in developing their careers. Now, these moving online portals that we have that I showed you there, what we find is many institutions create their own custom version for that. So part of what Merlot is, it's an open educational resource so that you can revise, remix, reuse. And we're having a number of institutions who are taking that original website and branding it on their own. Now, Merlot allows you to do that. It's using Merlot Content Builder, a free authoring material that we provide you. So what we have here, just to say, how do you find, and now I'm going to show you a little bit more about these open educational practices. in Merlot, you can go find this whole portal. This is just the way to step through it. And again, I'm going to show you that just in a minute. But the website is OEP, Open Educational Practices.merlot.org. So let's go have some fun. Let's go back to Merlot. Okay, we can just, now I'll just walk you through how to do this. So Merlot, we have our communities page, which is all the different ways that people organize materials. So if you have a different specialty, you're looking for materials about agriculture or biology, you just is all those materials that are just about biology. So you don't have to get lost with everything else. What are new materials? How do I find specific thing about? If I want to know about botany, then I can just click on that right there. And now, boom, here are all the materials related to botany. Okay. So those are your academic disciplines. Now there's also academic support services. So this is where, if you're looking for different strategies about teaching online, here's our pedagogy portal. But now this is the one I'm going to show you here about open educational practices. If you're looking at redesigning your course, you kind of click on that and you say, oh, I want to look at redesigning the way, let's do chemistry. All right. So here are a number of different faculty members, Grayson, Derek, Seth, Alan, all these people who then say, I'm going to show you and tell my story about how I changed the way I taught introductory chemistry. And so by clicking on those links, you then hear them telling their story about why did they redesign the course, what were their objectives that they had, what were the results, did the students succeed in being more successful in the redesign process. So these are, again, the open educational practices are about sharing the different strategies that you have for teaching. And I might look at, let's see, so let's pick another one just so you get a sense of, here's another one. Oh, they're from Poly San Luis Obispo. So let's go look for a different category. Let's go for history. And so you can say active learning in teaching U.S. history. So here's another story by another faculty member that talked about what are their students, how do they learn? So you can really see, was this really effective in improving student success? And then you can decide whether you want to make those changes. All right. So in the Open Educational Practices website, another example here is if you're going to change to using free online textbooks, right? You can find all these different examples. I might be teaching math. And now again, here are the stories of faculty members who are using free online materials for teaching. Here we go, statistics. So it's learn how I used to teach this open textbook in my course. And so and now here is their teaching e-portfolio about the textbook they use, the course they teach, and how they adopted it, and what were the students' feedback. So again, a simple example of how sharing open educational practices can be very helpful when you're trying to move online by listening to your colleagues on what to do. Now, the last thing I'll show you, and then we'll open it up for questions here, is in particular in teaching science, how teaching your labs can be a real challenge. So in this case, we've organized virtual labs. So how do you use different tools to teach the hands-on laboratory skills? And again, what this is doing, and I'll just click on this one. Here again is a story, a teaching e-portfolio when someone's trying to teach electricity and magnetism. So here's why did they redesign the course? How did they implement it? So this is the how-to, the lessons learned, and this is an example of a free simulation that is out there that you can use in teaching your STEM labs. And here are the results. They have the findings. Did this improve the way the students performed? And here's the person. You can email Paul. More information in the area of open educational resources and practices. And now just the last two slides, we'll just finish up here. So this is just an invitation for you to use open education resources and practices to empower people, empower everyone. When you give them free access, they too can educate and be educated. And also, Merlot is free and open for you to contribute your materials. And by growing this collection, you can use these and use Merlot and Skills Commons and share the way that it works for you with your colleagues. So with that, just want to say thank you so much. Really do appreciate the opportunity to share the materials that we have in Merlot. And I'm happy to answer questions. And if people want me to demonstrate things along those lines too, John, yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Wow. This is a record in about 30 minutes. Uh, Gerry has actually gone through a whole lot about Merlot and Skills Commons. That was really, really good. Now, I'm going to start from here because early in the conference, we had Shamal Majumdar, Dr. Shamal Majumdar, the former head of the UNESCO Univoc International Center, and he talked so much about TVET. TVET is aligned to workforce development programs that Skills Commons deals with all the blue collar jobs and all that. And what that's what really gets me so get all of this fascinating to me, because now in any dimension or discipline that you're talking of, there are resources within the open education sphere to help in transforming teaching and learning. Now, and particularly when you're talking about uh, that area of TVET, workforce development programs. Now, Milo has taught in so much that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to get to a place and you have things that download things. Now, in talking about Skills Commons, because that's where I really wanted to go delve in first to really talk about first. How do an average blue collar person get to relate with the Skills Commons side, even with learning a program or trying to find resources for self development? How can Skills Commons be a very good platform for that? Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you, John. And so what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen again.
Good.
Okay. And so so I can show you how that can work. All right, let's. Okay, and then let me open up Skills Commons. Okay, so what I'm going to begin with is well, here let me first show you a little bit. If you want to explore the collection, what are the resources out there that are available, and so this diagram here kind of visually shows you what's in the Skills Commons collection. Okay, so if you are looking for materials, right, if you put your cursor over the different sections here, it will tell you what the topic areas are. Now, so you can see this my cursor is on manufacturing, and it's petroleum and coal products manufacturing. Okay, and then underneath it, it says NAICS, NAICS, and that stands for the North American Industry Classification Scheme, right? So all these, just as in academics, higher education, there's a taxonomy for the sciences and humanities. In industry, they also have this whole taxonomy. So what you can do if you're an individual and you're looking for materials that you want to know about, petroleum and coal products manufacturing, or about metal manufacturing, or about machining, all right, you simply roll your cursor over to the area, and then you move it onto the black box there, and then it'll just click on that, and now this opens up. So think of this as when you go into a library, okay, you go in the front door, and then you decide what aisle you want to look down, for the books and stuff. So that's kind of what we did, is we looked at manufacturing here in machining, and then you can say, if I'm an individual, maybe I want a tutorial to help me learn something. So I can just click on to tutorial, and then here we have manufacturing skills certificate by and I would just click on here, and now, so as you can see here, what's written here is if I want to go about in machining manufacturing, and I want to know about principles of safety, I want to learn about safety regulations or maintenance, I can just click on this, and then this will download that material to your own computer. All right. Now, this is kind of a big file, 59 megabytes, so I'm not going to do it right now. But here's one that's a little smaller. If I want to know about what are the basic math skills I need to have if I'm going to do manufacturing, so I just clicked on that, and now it opened up, and here's what's called a zip file. And now this is opening it up. And so here are all the different, these are PDFs for me learning different materials. Here's the syllabus. I can just, so you can see how this is just opening up a Word document. And now here's a free course. Here's the, what the course is about, the learning objectives, assessment. So John, what I'm just showing you here is an example of how Skills Commons has workforce development materials that are that someone can explore, right? They can say, what am I interested in? Let's just go back up to here. So I can, if if I'm interested in healthcare, and with COVID, right? There's a lot of issues. How do I prepare to work in hospitals, right? So I can again just click on this, and this is about working in hospitals, and I might want to say, oh, do I want to take a hybrid or blended course? What are the materials that I can look at? And we see here some materials in Spanish, right? That we have here from San Juan University. And I might say, oh, if I'm looking for English materials, here's about health information, law, and ethics. So again, a 1 megabyte file, I just click on it, and then I have access for me to review that on my own. So those are, John, for an individual learner who can go explore the collection. So, and just so for example, hospitals, that there's 392 materials in this category. I may want to go to cybersecurity. There's over 1,000 materials in cybersecurity. Again, you can see here's the category, and then this number in parentheses says you how many materials are there. Technical services. I also have kind of repair and maintenance. And even if you have mining and quarrying, there's still 176 materials available. Agriculture, right? All of agriculture, 339. I can simply click on that. And again, it opens up the library. And then I can say, oh, I'm interested in these categories of forestry and logging, right? Or I might be interested in animal production and agriculture, or fruit and nut tree farming. Okay, so you can, just showing you that an individual can go explore the different collections, just as they may walk down in a bookstore or a library. This is, in a sense, the way to explore the digital library collection. So that's one thing. The other example, let me go back to the home. So we also created showcases. So these are ways to kind of highlight materials that are available in Skills Commons. So if you might be looking for just free and open courses in various disciplines. And one of the things we did, John, we highlighted with COVID right from the beginning, if you want to take materials related to infection control or workplace safety. So these are, so an individual who wants to learn how to have a healthier workplace. So here are kind of free materials. And let's just take this simple thing about how to properly dispose of gloves, right? So once you wear them, so here's a video that you can learn online about proper glove sterilization procedures.
All right. Now for our procedures, there's going to be 2 types of cleansing methods.
Okay, so hopefully you got a sense there, John, of the types of materials that you can that Skills Commons has available. And let's just go back up to the example here. Hang on one second.
Okay.
We're all at home in our internet, and so it's a little slow right now.
Problem.
Yeah, let me try one more thing. Let me try something. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go. So and so in here, so here are all the hygiene related ones. But if you have interest in energy, or you're interested in, here's other healthcare or business management, for example, you want to try to start your own business, you want to be an entrepreneur. All right. So here's again a free and open course to be your own boss and be an entrepreneur. I click on it. And so here's a course I can take, how to get started, an introduction to entrepreneurship. And it's loading up a little slow, but hopefully you get a sense, John, of
to help you gauge your progress.
You can see all these materials. I didn't have to log in. I didn't have to pay anything. And then the last thing I'll just show you is we also have all just online and hybrid courses based on these occupations. So if you're in food preparation or healthcare support or management, you just click on these. So let me stop there, and John, and see if there are other questions that you'd want me to showcase or highlight. And hopefully that was useful.
Wow, that was not just useful, that was really, really important for me to know. And for everyone that will be watching or that's watching right now, because you've just shown a resource that if you actually not delve in deep into the Skills Commons platform, you'll be able to kind of like, oh, yeah, there's so much. Now you've given us a whole lot within this time that um, institutions need to get into it, individuals need to get into it, and then you have everyone would have an opportunity to learn either you're in higher ed, your students, your workforce, whatever it is, and civil. So thank you very much for delivering that. Yeah. So, Karen, my conference chair said I didn't know all these resources were free. Yeah, and that's just so. I've, I didn't know either. Yeah, and someone asked the question. Let me just see if we could. Yeah. What's the standard procedure that must be followed before resources can be accepted in Merlot? That means how resources, educational resources placed on the Merlot platform. Can you quickly say something about that?
Sure. So so let me go back to Merlot. So one of the questions you ask is, well, how did all these materials in Merlot get there, right? Now, this is where what's so important, and this is something, John, your leadership has been essential in this too, as well as in Merlot. So we're at, again, merlot.org. So, this is the top here, that members. So we have over 175,000 members from around the world who are contributing materials into Merlot, right? So John, if you want to see where members are around the world, so each one of these countries, so if we want to go into Africa, Nigeria, 474 members. We got Benin, 7 members. Ghana, 126 members. And you can just see Sierra Leone, Ghana, Gambia, so we have Senegal. We have people throughout Africa who are members within Merlot, and they contribute their materials into the collection. Okay, so and if you want to find who are colleagues who you might know in Ethiopia, you just click on that, and then so here are the people who are in Ethiopia. if you're interested, again, just an example here, you can then look at Kenya, you can look at Cameroon, you can look at Nigeria. So, and look who's right up front here, John, as someone who's contributed to Merlot. So the first step in contributing into Merlot, right, is first to become a member, which is free for you to do. And so now we're just looking at John's membership, and you can see John submitted a material into Merlot, and that's how materials get contributed, is the community recognizes what are useful materials, and then they add those links, right? And so so that's kind of how it works, and I can quickly show you. So if you want to add material to Merlot, first you have to be a member, and you can see up on the top right-hand corner, it says, "Hi, Gerry." So it knows I'm a member. Again, it's free and open for you to do. You can think of this as Merlot is LinkedIn for educators, okay? And then what you do is you can put the URL of the website that you're using, or you can upload a file, you put a title, and then what you do then is then describe what it is. So you can say, what discipline is it in? Give a description, keywords, put some images. So you just fill out a form, and then at the bottom, you submit it. So that's how materials are contributed into Merlot, is the community of people from around the world add the materials. And you can see at the very bottom in the footer here, it says, "What's new in Merlot?" And in the last 30 days, we've had over 1,300 people join Merlot, and 186 new materials have been added. And if you want to see what the new stuff is, you click on this, and okay, here's the new materials that people around the world contributed. So now you have access to those materials from people who've identified some of these materials. And now you'll notice that Merlot, you'll see materials in different languages. And if you want to see Merlot in let's say, I know French is often used in West Africa. So now we've just translated all of Merlot into French, okay, using Google Translate. So, and then you can, again, pick the language that that you may want, and to help you discover the materials that works for you. So I'll stop sharing, John, and then happy to answer another question, or we're coming to the end of the time. And
yeah, we'll go with the rounding off right now, but I'm so excited about the fact that you've been able to share all this exciting information, which is very, very important. There's this last thing I wanted to talk about. We got one of our keynote speakers talked about the fact that this is a challenging period for a whole lot of institutions, higher ed, whatever, because of the fact that they are getting into relatively areas that they are not really well prepared for, in terms of doing classes remotely, running online classes, and all that. And the speaker said that open education resources are opportunity to create a leverage such that you reduce what is the cost like of textbooks and all of that. Now, if I push it to you as the executive director of Merlot, that how could Merlot help institutions, higher ed, even K-12 to move to remote learning in terms of their educational objects, educational resources, what would you tell them?
So the first thing I tell them is that friendship helps overcome fear and anxieties. So we often think about technology as the first line of how do we solve this problem. But what I would say is talk with your colleagues, talk with your friends, talk with your students, because all of you together are going to have to work together to change the way education functions. So that's you know, when anyone is having trouble, friends help you out, and that's my first line is work with your colleagues, share your strategies, share your practices, okay, and support one another. So that's first one. Second is, if you're looking for free and open educational materials, Merlot and Skills Commons are there for you. Now, John, in Nigeria, if you would like to create your own custom portal to help people move online, okay. Now, what I'm going to show you up here. Let me share my screen again. Hang on one second. Okay, part of open education resources is that you are free to reuse, remix, revise, basically to customize the resource to meet your local needs, right? So
Yeah.
Merlot has we have partners. And what I'm going to show you here is, let's just go to, okay, I'll go to this one here. So you remember we had the free, I showed you the free and open moving teachers online?
Yeah.
Okay. So this website here is, notice it's Bethune-Cookman. It's a university in Florida. So John, imagine you put your university logo there. And then what you do here is you put what your community says are the good resources that I can do this. And you know how you do that? All this is in Merlot Content Builder. So I just clicked on this edit page. And then what I can do is I can go in and I can just click on here. And now look, this is an editor for me to change what I want. So once you work with your community of people, you listen to what their needs are, and then you can create a custom website, John, for your university, and people around throughout Nigeria or anywhere else can also create this using the free and open platform of Merlot, because your friends give you comfort to help you change. And when you use your own branding, when you use your own identity, then people feel that they're home with these resources. It's not a stranger's resource, it's their resource. So that aspect of building and supporting that community, I think, is essential when you're looking at how do you figure out how do you change and deal with the responses.
Wow, this is impressive. And thank you for sharing that aspect. So educators, institutions everywhere know that they don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. They just have to make use of the opportunity and the comfort that a friend in Merlot offers to be able to get through this process and migrate and mainstream whatever it is you call it, um, uh, remote learning, distant learning, online learning, technology-enabled learning. Every aspect of it can actually be helped with resources like what Melu shared already. So thank you very much, Gerry. It has
You're very
been
welcome.
a really, really amazing session. A whole lot of things have been open to everyone that's doing this. I know everyone has got something to take back and really think over and say, oh, I have to do this and we have to put this together, especially whatever at the institutional level, it really, really matters now. Milo is a very, very good resource that every institution must definitely play along with. So thank you, Gerry, for really leading such a massive program that is really, really very important at times like this. Yeah, thank you so much.
You are
So glad.
very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's Gerry Hanley, the executive director of Milo and Skills Commons, and he has been talking a whole lot about those resources and how they are very aid to institutions, individuals, organizations to advance learning. Milo is talking about multimedia educational resources for learning online and teaching, and they have resources that matters the most right now. So you have to check on Milo from your institution to your personal needs and all that, and even to the TVET level, which I'm really excited about too as well. So we will be ending this session, but we have another session right after this. So just check on teachertonnetwork.com/p. You'll see the next session coming up, and you'll be able to like get it on it. Or perhaps if you're already on our Facebook and our Twitter page or our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see the new session coming on. Yeah. So thank you very much, and thank you so much, Gerry. I will definitely see you very soon. So I'll communicate with you very soon.
Thank you.
Have a nice time.